yourself, and you can see what the items are. Like I said, there's games, there's even some, I think, whether flowers and that can be put, or something flower. She's talked about even on the signage, which would be, like I said, this has nothing to do with the grant, because we have to do that ourselves, which is not an issue, and we can decide if we want to do signage and what type of signage we want to do. But I told her we would definitely go with how the park has been planned out, laid out, and not butt heads. Our signs won't butt heads with theirs. It'll be flowing. Anything else? Like I said, we could wait till the next meeting, but we'll definitely need to, I'd love to discuss it, but no later than that by our next meeting. But I will, like I said, send out all the emails to those that still read emails. All right. I know we have a Home and Garden show that is planned April 4th and 5th. We have a member, Jeff Fozzie, is going to be there with his First Hometown Mortgage and would love to include Rotary in this. Is there anybody that would like to help Jeff with the show? Do you have any ideas? Jeff, do you want to comment on that, since I don't want to step on your toes? I know this is your thunder.
We just have a 20 by 20 booth. We're not going to need that much, so we just thought that maybe Rotary, we could, the banners. We had first initially, I was looking at doing the raffle, but that's not going to be ready exactly. But Dan and I were talking too if we wanted to do a motor, one of those mobility scooters there. Yeah. And for, that way it's good advertisement for them also.
I'd love to see that, because I know our club's a big supporter of that.
So we have our banners here that we could load, and we have a table. I got lots of stuff in my house that we can pull out.
I've got that banner we walked with the parade at.
We've got
We can use that.
the banner that we use that we can hang up, and that Scott and I are going to be going to which direction are we going that weekend?
Going so many directions.
I don't know. Well, anyway, we're going to be gone, so we were just trying to get it covered for the weekend as a whole.
Yeah, I mean,
It's fourth and
I'll be there, so that's not really maybe help putting up or taking down, but
I think
that's next weekend.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think
No,
I'm
2 weeks.
No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So anyway, we just needed somebody to maybe help Jeff was really all, or at least I'll make sure he gets the stuff. We have the same issue with the Port Bear trailer the following weekend, I think.
The end of April.
The end of April.
It's the all-in conference. That was on my list too. That's the next thing, but yes, on the Home and Garden, if anybody has any ideas or would like to help, I know we could definitely get you in touch with Jeff. And Jeff, thank you for wanting to include us with your display.
Absolutely. Get the name out there.
And I would move that we wrangle this guy in his program.
I would love to see if you and Dan can get it worked out, that'd be great.
I think we will.
Between us Northerners, we can get it done.
Northern,
I'm gonna hold you to this.
the South will rise again.
Saturday, Mike and I know Jane will be there. Just on Saturday, but yeah, Pels once again is President-elect Learning Seminar. It used to be formerly known as PETS. So, I'm still catching up with that one. But like I said, we'll be gone for that. District Conference, April 25th and 26th, Friday, Saturday. Friday night, Saturday, all day Saturday. That's going to be down in Indianapolis. It's the all-in. All 3 districts will be there. And if you have not reserved your room, there's still rooms. There's still slots available at the conference. We'd love for, I know Mike and I, Missy will be at that one too. And Terry.
That's
I was
right.
gonna say, and Terry.
I think the deadline for those rooms is the 28th.
The 28th of this
This
month.
month.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want a room, otherwise you're driving back, if you don't spend the night Friday night.
Most of the conference is on Saturday.
It is on Saturday, yes. There's a small portion on Friday night. That's more fun than anything else. All right, I've already mentioned the Saint A fundraiser was April 26th is a Saturday, which is also the same weekend for the All-In Conference. And I know Parker Valvich will be heading up the Porkburger trailer because we have committed to help Saint A with their fundraiser on that day. And I know Evie has already said that she's going to help in the trailer. So we've got two. We do need a few more volunteers for that Saturday.
Would you have some teachers?
And once again, in April, our two meetings are comprised of Rensselaer Central High School. We will have the girls' basketball team here on the first meeting of April, which is April 1st. And Suzanne will not be cooking for us that day. She's recovering from eye surgery. So she will not be here. So I've already been in contact with the athletic director and coach between Kenny Hickman and Coach Radke. And they've been to several places and had several meals. And I asked them what they really would like. And Kenny kind of, and I said, how about pizza? And he says, let me check. And I got a big yes text back to me. So we will be having pizza to celebrate the girls' basketball program. And then the next meeting, which is the 15th, will be the Rensselaer's top 20 students. We annually host them, and so April's exciting. We will have our high school here and supporting them. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add before we start?
One thing I have is I've been working with Nancy and the chamber, and it sounds like
Because we traditionally have, I will let you know, Tri-Kappa Psi.
Yeah,
Tri-Kappas always traditionally have one day, and I think it's Wednesday.
correct.
So that day is already been scheduled.
we'll get together.
Anything, yeah, just let me know, and we can definitely, you know us, we'll take the help.
Yeah.
They can run the trailer, and we'll supply the griller.
We get to run theirs because they have baked potatoes.
Yeah.
Just right.
Anything else? All right, Jane, if you're done with your lunch. Jane Roush, everybody. Let's see if I put you in the dark.
Okay, so I am from the Albion Rotary Club. I actually live in Kendallville, so it was a nice, about a 3-hour trip over here today, but a beautiful day to travel, so it's always fun to come over here. This year I am the District Rotary Foundation that we give into the foundation in our communities and around the world. I think one of the big things that I always like to share with people is that, you know, we can feel very comfortable with giving to the Rotary Foundation. There is probably not another organization that can say for 16 years they've received a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator. And what that means is that we are accountable for our funds. There's always ways in which you can find out how those have been spent. And it's just, that is like the top-notch way to be ranked is through Charity Navigator, and we're at their highest level. In fact, we had 100 points on part of the funds that are brought in. So there's a gentleman in this room that always says it's not about the money, but it's about what it does. And that is really true. So why would you want to give? Well, I think that all of us have through our local projects, but grants. And so we talked a little bit about our district grant that you're going to be applying for this year. And we have several different types of grants. And I'm just going to go through these very quickly. Ones that you've probably heard more about are global grants. And those are ones that are at least a $30,000 budget. And you have at least 2 different clubs, one from your district and one from an international district. And you help support programs in those areas. District grants are normally for smaller projects. In our case, we look at about $3,000, and I'm going to show that, well, they're about a $4,000 project. They're short-term projects that happen within 1 year, and most of those are for local communities, although sometimes some of the communities will decide to do a project that has an international flair. The mobility carts originally last year were district grants for the DeMont Club and the Keltman Club, correct? Then there's 2 other grants that come out at different times. One of those is called Programs of Scale, and those are grants that are 1 a year, and normally they're at least a $1 to $2 million grant that goes to end malaria and several different big projects. And then disaster response grants. Mike's been working on disaster response program for our district. But we can, if something would happen, if we have a tornado come through Rensselaer one day, we could apply to the Rotary Foundation for up to $25,000 to help Rensselaer recover. You don't have to put money into it. There's no strings attached. It can just be used to help support your community. You have to do a report. Just wanted to share a couple of projects that we have done recently that were global grants in District 6540. One that we've just been completing is we taught women in South Africa to sew. And then we also taught them the business skills. We had a group from Fort Wayne. They call their international women's group that they go into different countries, and they teach them the business skills in order to sell their products that they make. And what that was to do was to make them self-sustaining, so that instead of, there's a lot of domestic abuse in South Africa, and we found from one of our Peace Fellows that a lot of domestic abuse and trafficking was going on in this area, and we're trying to bring those women out of it so that their children have a better life to live. When I was district governor a few years ago, and Mike was president that year, one of the big themes was empowering girls. So during that year, we spent a lot of our global grant funds to put toilet blocks into schools, both in Mexico and in India, because what better way to empower girls than to get them educated and to help them learn to stay in school. And we found that if they didn't have their own toilet blocks, they were dropping out of school when they hit puberty. And so we wanted to make sure that they could get educated and empowered. And I was very fortunate this year to come over for your Empowering Girls event, which started that year. And it was such a fun event to be here for. Another one that we partner with every year is there are programs that we do with Heart to Heart. We are part of District 6540 is kind of the northernmost part of Zone 30. And Zone 30 goes all the way from northern Indiana all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Zone 31 is the other part. We call ourselves the Heart of America, and we work with the Heart of Mexico, and we do several projects. It started a long time ago with the Water Well Project. We've done schools. We put toilet blocks in schools, and one of Mike's heartfelt projects is the cleft palate surgeries. So we've supported all of those over the years. Just a couple of key points, talking about your district grant. We have the power, with our district grants, we can give up to $3,000, and that's kind of based on your per capita giving each year. Why do I mention this? And I'm going to talk about it in a little different way here, because it's going to affect your incoming district governor in a few years. Clubs must contribute at least 25% of the project, but you can have as big a project as you want. It doesn't have to be a $4,000 project. It could be a $20,000 project. You're only going to get $3,000 to $3,500. I think you qualified for $3,500 with the foundation dinner. So, and it is a reimbursement grant. last year, which is the last full year we had, in 23-24, we had over $79,000 of our dollars that we put into the Rotary Foundation came back to support community projects right here in District 6540. And I'm not gonna list, there's a list of a lot of them there for you. One of the neat ones I thought was that we actually ended up doing, and this was actually a picture I found from someplace else, was the Granger Club they worked with what's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and they build beds for children who don't have a bed to sleep in. And they found out that there were about 400 children in their area that did not have a bed to sleep in. So they spent a day building beds. And I know you guys have done ramps before along with several of the other groups. Well, obviously, in order to do those grants, we have to have funds coming into the foundation. It's only possible through gifts that are given, the generosity of lots of us donors. Another way of putting it in is kind of a circle. We bring the money into the Rotary Foundation, it goes back out into grant programs, and when we see the value of those grant programs, then hopefully we want to continue to give more. Here's where I'm gonna say it's gonna make a big difference for Mike, and I'm gonna put in a big plug for you guys to kind of step up this year. Annual fund share, it's invested for 3 years. So any of our contributions that come in this year are going to be invested, and they will come back to us in 3 years. What's happening in 3 years? Mike will be district governor that year, which means then that he will have the decisions to make on how those funds are spent and called DDF. So half of those funds that come back go into our district designated funds, and half of those are used for our district grants, and the other half is used for global grants and Polio Plus and Peace Fellows. Pardon?
For Club Valley.
Well, that'll be in your global grant. And then the
I'm
other,
getting all the money I can.
but the whole point is, the more we raise this year, the more he has to support those great projects that we do in our district. So if you have any chance to give any extra before June 30th, do it for Mike.
Yay.
And he didn't plug me to say that, I'm just doing that. There's a lot of different, the one we really push in order to get our district designated funds back is the annual fund, and it's annual fund share. So make sure that your funds go to that. Obviously, our signature project is Polio Plus, and we want to continue to support that. But annual fund share are the ones that come back. At certain times, we may ask for gifts to be given to disaster response, because that's a great way to help others in our area. Like when we had the tornadoes in Kentucky, and we helped out with that. And then you'll hear more about endowment over the next year, because we are going to have what's called a legacy dinner. And that's really where we want to try and build up our endowment fund, which then we get the proceeds, the interest back from that to spend each year in our district. And then you can do a directed gift for a global project if you so desire. In 2023, we would have spent almost double of what, well, over double what the money was that was given, and it would still have a market value of almost double what was put in. So overall, we'd spent over $100,000. I mean, we'd have $100,000 compared to that original $25,000. We won't go on what the market value is today, so not good. It's getting better. So, and then there is an opportunity that if you're a part of Polio Plus, that's one of the ways in which we encourage support for the polio, and that is a $100 gift annually for the Polio Plus Society. We have some individual recognitions, and so I'd like to invite Dan Ryan to come up at this point in time.
This can't be good.
So you were the dignitary.
Well, can't do that. That's another option.
Aren't you giving one?
What's that?
Aren't you giving
I'm giving a Paul Harris Society. Is
Right.
that what you
So,
wanted?
yes, so many in this club are what's called Paul Harris Fellows, and they have given at least $1,000 or received points. Somebody has given them points from their gifts to reach Paul Harris Fellow. And in fact, I have your latest CRS form. And there's a couple of people in this club that are less than $100 away from getting their next Paul Harris Fellow. So you may want to talk to them about moving up one ladder. Then there's also what's called the Paul Harris Society. Dan, you want to talk about that?
And last time I was here, of course, you used to be making mistakes. I actually had 2 people to recognize. We recognized Scott. People that are donating, what we call a steroid level to the foundation each year, committing to donate $1,000 to any one of the categories that Jane has mentioned. And can be easily done through Rotary Direct or one time a year or even monthly. But these are individuals that see the value of the foundation and are wanting to put their resources to that. So today I'd like to recognize, and I probably should add, as I said the last time, we've been a little remiss in keep catching up to some of these recognitions. And so we're catching up as far as some of these individuals have been donating more than a year at this level. So at this time, I'd like to recognize Mike for his support for the Paul Harris Society, which is your certificate, and then a chevron that attaches to the pin. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
It's my best side.
And then, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Mike, for your support. Major donor is someone. A lot of times that's out of assets for club recognitions, 100% foundation giving, every Rotarian every year. I think you received 1 or 2 of those this year at the foundation dinner. We always give those out at that point in time. And then the top 3 in per capita giving, along with a one-time Paul Harris Fellows Award. So everybody in your club became a Paul Harris Fellow, you would win that award. And that's a very prestigious award. I think we only have about 7 out of our 56 clubs that have that. So it is something to strive for. So I did a little research on your club this year. Actually, I forgot to change the numbers, 23 and 24. Did it again. Actually that's correct. Last year, when it was the end of last year for 23-24, you had for EREY, which means every Rotarian in your club gave something, you had 30 out of 35 gave. And the number in green is this year's level. Thank you very much for already having sent quite a bit of funding in. I'm gonna say, keep it on coming in, so it helps Mike. We could use some more funds so that he has a lot to give to programs. Sustaining members are those that give at least $100. Last year you had 6 out of your 35, and you're already at 7 for this year. Your per capita giving this year's up. It's at 143, like I said, putting it up. And then your total giving, the first number is your annual fund, share amount, and then the second one is your overall giving. So that would include Polio Plus, anything that was given to endowed funds, other funds. So this year you're at 5. So how do you give? Most of you know most of this in terms of you can write the check, mail to the Rotary Foundation, give to your club foundation chair. One of the things I really want to strive for this year is to encourage more people to give through Rotary Direct. That is one way in which it makes it very simple to get to that Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society is for $84 a month. Then you would reach Paul Harris Fellow every single year. And it's a very easy, you go online with your My Rotary account, sign up, comes out through your credit card or an ACH. And the nice thing with it is, like I said, you get the nice little note each month that thank you for your gift. You don't have to remember, oh, I haven't sent my $1,000 in yet, or I haven't sent my $100 in yet. Now I know you do take money through your dues to cover so that you're up, that you reach the $100, or $25. I don't remember what you set up, but you guys are doing a great job with your 100. The other one is if you're using your Ignite app, there's a nice little button down in the corner that you just hit on that and you can go straight in and do a gift. There are also ways that if you're at that point in your life where you're taking required minimum distributions from your IRAs, then that's a great way in which to send the money in that way. And it lowers your taxable issues and also is a great way to use those funds. There's also a lot of others with appreciated stock and bequest. I can answer those. Then the last thing I was just going to say is just, make it fun. Have fun activities at times that you do, maybe a contest to see, before the end of the year, some ways in which you can get people to the next level on something, or with their Paul Harris Fellow, or everybody getting an extra so much to help during 3 years from now. We look at club and district matching points. We use those. Having a night giving day. Some clubs donate $25 for a new member, so it's a great way to get them started. They get the thank you back from the foundation. It's a great way to connect. But connecting, there's 7 areas of focus, and I always say that if you aren't finding something within the Rotary Foundation that appeals to what's your passion, then you're probably not breathing, because it covers about everybody. So why do I give? It's kind of for both of these reasons. Locally, so that my grandchildren have as great a place or better to live in when they grow up. And then I did a mission trip in Africa one year and I saw what little they had. And so I have an opportunity as Rotary International to not only support locally, but also to be part of a bigger group that's supporting internationally and making a difference for people that, we couldn't stand to be there for one day. It's really hard. So, but look at the smiles on their faces. They don't know it, but it certainly helps when we can provide more for them. Questions? I don't know if I want to. We still have a couple of minutes before you have to be out of here. I kind of rushed through a couple of things, but I know most of you are ones that know a lot. But we had a new member, so hopefully gave a few. Dan, anything you want to add to that?
Good job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks, Dan, for coming here to put up with Mike for another presentation. We do appreciate that.
The rest of the members offset that. It takes all of them.
I still hear you talking.
All right, anybody else have anything to add to our regular meeting? Yes,
Would your club was so supportive of the mobility project, and the tentacles from that. I've had a church group in the Kentland area that are not Rotarians that have done birth kits. Had a phone call this morning from a Girl Scouts over in Ossian that are going to do birth kits. But as of this morning, our original goal was 57 carts. As of this morning, we're now at 106 carts.
Oh, wow.
So we still have a couple larger clubs that have made commitments. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. Our first goal was to 57, and then it went to 75, and then it went to 100, and then double would be 114. And but we're looking to go beyond that. But this club, especially if you're newer, donated 10 carts of that 106. So it was just huge. And kind of those things really help motivate those people that are involved with this. I've gone to their shop, and a couple of people were there, and they said, I don't know if you know Dan Ryan. He said, he's the guy from Rotary. We know who that is. We know what that's all about. So they see those funds coming in because now they're increasing the number of carts they're making each week. So a lot of that is because of Rensselaer Rotary. So thank you.
I will see. We'd love to keep supporting it because it is a great cause.
I forgot one other thing.
Sure.
I'm gonna leave this with Scott. There's a QR code here that if you are interested in doing Rotary Direct, all you have to do is point your phone at the QR code and it'll take you right there. And it's really quick and simple, so we'll have that available for you as well.
And as Jane mentioned, in our DAC-DB, if you have the Ignite mobile, you can go in there and do it directly there too. You can see your points, you can see where you're at. It's very useful tool. And once again, those that have not done it yet would like to, Mike, myself, Missy, those are at least three of us that would love to help you out with that. Give us a call, we'll come to you, and we'll help you set it up. Even if you have trouble getting on DAC-DB with your computer, we'd love to help you with that too. All right, before we do anything else, we do have our 50-50 drawing. Let's see, we have a guest today. I'm sorry, John?
Jeff.
Jeff, I was so close.
Jeff is my next door neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Wow, welcome, Jeff. Pull my
All
number.
right. Last three digits, 928.
We have
Oh,
a,
we have a
we have a
winner.
wiener.
Wow.
All right,
Oh,
let's
sorry, bro.
come up here and
I
see.
kind of overloaded the boxes.
Queen of Hearts, it would be winner, winner.
Take me to
This will
dinner.
set me up for life.
At least for what's in the pile.
It'll be some kind of setup.
Oh, so close, but so
Jack
far
close.
away.
Yeah,
All
Jack.
right. Anything else for today's meeting? All right, if you'd stand, we'll do the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill for better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
All right.